I need to tell you something, and I need you to really hear me. The last thing my wife ever said to me was at 3:27 in the morning, December 12, 2017, Memorial Sloan Kettering, room 814. She squeezed my hand and whispered, "Walter, you were the best thing that ever happened to me, and the worst part is..." She believed that for 58 years. I let her believe it. So maybe you're listening to this thinking, what kind of man lets his wife die believing he was better than he really was? A man like me, because I cheated on Ingrid one time, 40 years ago, 41 minutes, and she never found out. That's the part that stayed with me all these years. Not the affair itself, not the woman, not even the guilt at first. It was the fact that she trusted me completely. And I carried the weight of breaking that trust for the rest of my life. I met Ingrid in the spring of 1957 at a Lutheran church social on 4th Avenue. She had bright red hair, the kind of red you only saw on Norwegian girls back then, and she was helping my mother serve coffee in the kitchen. I walked in for a glass of water and completely forgot why I'd gone in there in the first place. That night I told my mother, I'm going to marry that girl. My mother laughed and said, "Walter, you spoke 3 words to her." I said, "That's enough." We got married in October of 1959. I was 22, she was 21. My father worked tugboats on the harbour, and I followed him into engine rooms before I was old enough to understand how hard life could become. Ingrid was a nurse, steady hands, soft voice, the kind of woman who remembered birthdays without writing them down anywhere. We bought this apartment in 1962, 3rd floor, 2 bedrooms, small kitchen. That kitchen became our whole life together. She sat in the same chair every morning at 6 o'clock with 1 slice of rye toast and black coffee, thin layer of butter, always thin. Said she didn't want to get heavy. I still haven't moved that chair. It's been almost 9 years now. I haven't washed her coffee mug either. I know how that sounds. But grief has a way of making certain objects feel holy. We had 2 daughters, Anna in 61, Karen in 65. Ingrid worked nights at Lutheran Medical so she could be home when the girls got out of school. She packed lunches with little handwritten notes, made soup for neighbors whenever someone died, said grace before every meal. She believed in heaven the way people used to believe in weather, completely and without question. And for 26 years I truly was the husband she deserved. Then came October 1985, Atlantic City. Maritime Engineering Conference at the Sheraton. I was 49 years old. Burned out, restless, feeling older than I wanted to admit to myself. Ingrid packed my suitcase before I left, slipped a St. Olaf medal into the side pocket like she always did, patron saint of travelers. Second night there, I sat alone at the hotel bar drinking Schlitz beer. I remember every detail from that night. That's what guilt does. It preserves moments like insects trapped in amber. The bartender's name was Diane, 34, divorced, small tattoo of a sailboat on the inside of her wrist. I looked at that tattoo 3 separate times before I finally spoke to her. At 1 in the morning, she asked if I wanted to come upstairs for another drink. I said yes. 41 minutes later, I walked back out into the hallway. And that was it. That's the terrifying thing about betrayal. Sometimes it only takes 41 minutes to create a wound that lasts 40 years. I came home Sunday afternoon. Ingrid picked me up at the Greyhound station in Newark. She brought me a meatloaf sandwich because she thought I might be hungry after the trip. She kissed me on the cheek and asked, "Were you good?" And I said yes. She believed me. For the next 32 years, she believed me completely. People love saying what they don't know can't hurt them. That's not true. Secrets don't stay contained. They leak slowly into everything. That lie sat with me at every anniversary dinner, every Christmas morning, every family photograph. It sat in my chest when our first granddaughter was born. It sat in my throat when Ingrid stood up during our 40th anniversary party and toasted the finest man she'd ever known. And it sat beside her hospital bed while she was dying. That's the part nobody tells you about cheating. The punishment isn't always exposure. Sometimes the punishment is being loved anyway, completely, without suspicion, without hesitation, and knowing you no longer feel worthy of it. People think guilt fades with time. It doesn't. It simply changes shape. At first it burns hot, then it settles deeper and quieter, like a stone you've carried in your coat pocket for so many years that you forget what walking feels like without it there. So why am I telling you this now? Because somewhere tonight there's a man sitting alone in his truck replaying one mistake over and over again. And every podcast, every article, every internet therapist is telling him the exact same thing. Confess, unload it, tell her everything, maybe, but I'm going to say something unpopular. Sometimes confession is about relieving yourself. not helping the other person. Sometimes you're not telling the truth to heal them. You're telling the truth so you can stop hurting yourself. And maybe that burden belongs to you, not her. There's another path, a harder one, a path where you carry the weight yourself and spend the next 30 years becoming the man you should have been before you betrayed her. Not through speeches, not through tears, through consistency, through patience, through loyalty, through showing up every single day whether anyone notices or not. I'm not saying everyone should hide everything forever. I'm saying life is more complicated than internet advice makes it sound. Some mistakes become private debts, and private debts still demand payment. I spent 32 years trying to pay mine back, every doctor visit, every birthday, every difficult season, trying to become worthy of the version of me Ingrid already believed existed all along. Did I fully succeed? Honestly, I don't know, but I never stopped trying. The morning she died, she squeezed my hand and said, "You were the best thing that ever happened to me." And for one terrible second, I felt like a thief standing beside that hospital bed. But another part of me realized something too. For 32 years after my worst moment, I had loved her faithfully. Completely. I carried groceries, held her during panic attacks, sat beside hospital beds, buried her parents, raised children with her, stayed loyal through sickness, aging, disappointment, and fear. One terrible act had been real, but so had 32 years of devotion afterward. Human beings are complicated that way. We are rarely defined by only our worst moment unless we decide to stay there forever. If you're carrying guilt tonight, I'm not here to tell you what decision to make. I'm just telling you this. Whatever you did, don't waste the rest of your life becoming smaller because of it. Become better because of it. Let the guilt refine you instead of rot you from the inside. Become gentler, more honest, more present. Become the person the people around you already hope you are. I'm 89 years old now. Every Sunday I go to Greenwood Cemetery, Section 41. I bring Ingrid fresh flowers. I sit beside her stone and talk for a while. Sometimes I apologize. Sometimes I thank her. Sometimes I just sit there quietly the way we used to sit together in the kitchen before the girls woke up for school. She never knew the truth. And strange as this sounds, after 40 years of carrying it, that may have been the only decent thing I still had left to give her.